Alright, so I know what you guys must be thinking. Didn't you say that you were going to release this on Valentine's Day? And yes, I did say that. But I will say this, not missed it for the month of February. So it still fits in the theming of, love, because February is the month of love, and this is very much a love story told in a very unique and very interesting way. And quite frankly, that's the only other way that I would expect Christopher Nolan to make his very own love story. I think to me, it's perfectly poignant that this love story is set within the backdrop of space and all that stuff. But we'll dive into that in my review. Hey guys, what's going on? It is Daniel Strong from QuickTime Reactions, and welcome back to my Odyssey, to the Odyssey, where I'm going to be breaking down and reviewing every single one of Christopher Nolan's movies, I should say, before going to see the Odyssey. And for this one, I'm getting into some familiar territory because I've already reviewed this movie. I went to go see this when it came out a couple years ago for its 10th anniversary re-release, and I saw it on 70mm IMAX, which that was an incredible experience. And if you want to go and check out my review for that, it's in the backlog, so you can check it out on the channel. But I wanted to re-review this because, well, one, due diligence, and two, I feel like there might have been some other stuff in my first review that I did not talk about, so we're going to talk about it here. I'm, of course, talking about Christopher Nolan's space epic, Interstellar. Like I said, directed by Christopher Nolan. It was written by him and his brother Jonathan Nolan. And of course, this was produced by Syncope, which is Nolan's production company. This movie stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Bill Irwin, Michael Caine, as well as a whole host of others. Earth is in a bad spot right now. There is a blight that is ravaging the world and taking out the food supply. So a group of engineers and scientists have been gathered together to go out on a mission to try and find their next Earth, essentially. And what ensues is a whole host of losing time and losing your crewmates also along the way. And can Cooper make it back in time to potentially see his family one last time? We'll have to wait and see. So, like I said, I went and saw this for the 10th anniversary re-release, and that was really, really awesome. But that time wasn't actually my first time going to see it, because the theater that I went to go see the re-release, the 10th anniversary re-release, had, I think, re-released it previously before that. And going to see that was my first time seeing it. So I think for me, this is my third time seeing Interstellar. And I've categorized Nolan's movies in these reviews before. For this one, Interstellar, I think this is his most emotional movie that he has ever made. Because when you look at it, sure, the outside of what I'm going to call the egg in this instance is all of this flashy sci-fi stuff, time and, how that kind of affects our characters, different time dilations, space travel, wormholes, black holes, tesseracts, all of this stuff, all the incredible imagery and science is the outer coating of the egg, the shell, shall we say. But the yolk, the gold that is inside, is ostensibly a love story. It's about a father wanting to get back to his family, more specifically his daughter. And I believe I said this in my first review, but I think people were so enveloped with the sci-fi aspects of this movie that they didn't see the gold that was beneath the sci-fi. And even, years after the movie was released, you look at all the movie reactions for this movie in particular, what do you see? You see people crying. You see people crying at the messages spanning 23 years scene. You see people crying when Coop leaves the farm for the first time, and Murph telling him to stay. And you see people crying at the realization that Coop is the ghost, and basically telling his past self to stay. Basically, which if he did stay, basically unraveling this whole thing, essentially. And that's consistent with every single reaction that you see is emotion. Because they understand and they see all of the amazing sci-fi stuff that's coming their way. But I think with the passage of time, they now see the golden yolk at the center of this egg. And I love the fact that this movie has gotten, reappraisal, because when it first came out, most critics did love this movie, but I did see a few that were a bit on it. But now, 10 years later, it's hailed as one of Nolan's best films. So I wanted to get that little spiel out the way. Performances in this, absolutely incredible. McConaughey is absolutely amazing in this. And so is Anne Hathaway. Jessica Chastain in this is also really, really good, as well as the older Murphy. Her scene with Casey Affleck towards the latter portion of the movie is really, really good. Just everyone in the cast does an absolutely amazing job with their performances in this. And even also Michael Caine does an absolutely amazing job. Yes, even though it's a Nolan movie and it's like, oh, hey, of course, Michael Caine, right there. Him as Professor Brand, he's really, really good as Brand in this movie. And like I said, everyone in the cast, absolutely amazing job. Cinematography, Wally Feister would be the normal cinematographer for Mr. Christopher Nolan, but that has now changed. And in steps a man who we are going to be talking about quite a bit in these latter reviews, and that is Mr. Hoyt van Hoytema. This would be his first film with Nolan, and he has not left that man's side ever since. And I think for the better, because all of the shots that are in this are absolutely amazing, especially with the shots from the view of the space station and the spaceships. Just absolutely incredible. Like, in my head, I see them pulling off like maybe some 2001 effects where it's like, okay, that's model work, and the lighting's just really good on it. But to have that camera mounted on the models to get all those really cool shots is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to be talking about Hoytema's shot compositions a lot, I guess, in the latter reviews in this series. Zimmer score. I mean, what else do I need to say about this score? For me, this is a top 5 movie score for me. This is probably hands down to me one of the best music scores ever. And it's so simple. Yes, it uses orchestration, it uses piano, but the use of the church organ, it's what makes it iconic and so unforgettable. Like, you hear the Cornfield Chase song, you hear Stay, you hear No Time for Caution. Just some of the iconic tracks that are in this soundtrack. You can hear those, and you will instantly see, you hear, and you remember all the lines of dialogue, the certain beats of certain scenes, and you are transported back to that specific moment in the movie. Of course, this score isn't the only score that can, do that for some people. Like, I would say most of Spielberg's stuff, you could probably translate that same feeling to. And another guy that I'm going to be talking about in this series, Ludwig Göransson. His stuff, whether it be Black Panther, whether it be Mandalorian, or as we'll later talk about in this series with Oppenheimer, it's exact same thing. It transports you back to the exact scene and the exact moment of what is happening. But for me, I can put on this soundtrack whenever I feel like and just instantly be transported back to the feeling that I had when I first watched this movie. And to me, that's the hallmark of a really good score, is the replayability. You're wanting to go back and experience it just by listening to the music. And I think this does it absolutely fantastically. This probably is the most visual effects, I would say, that Nolan has had to do for a movie, especially with the Tesseract scene at the end. But as much as, I guess maybe not VFX wise, I would say maybe this and Inception probably fair bit of VFX. So maybe coin flip odds as to which has the more VFX shots. But from what I heard, does the black hole imagery alone in this caused some of the VFX to render for 100 hours per frame. So, and since I'm on the topic, the black holes and the science of this movie, all backed up by actual legitimate scientists. Kip Thorne was the science, I would say, consultant for this movie, and his partner, his colleague, I should say, Linda Obst, also served as one of the producers on this movie. And so, yes, you can, look at all of the sci-fi stuff, and you may scratch your head and be like, "Oh, that can't possibly be real." But if you look deeper, it's like, no, it is very real. It's very, very real. And as I will discuss in my Tenet review, which will be coming next month, having that backbone of real science, real well, maybe not tangible, but real theoretical science behind this movie makes it even better in my eyes, because, as a guy who got his degree in STEM, in a STEM path, I really appreciate that. And my hope is that maybe somebody who watches this may be inspired to maybe go down the STEM path and maybe get their degree in that. And, maybe that might happen. I don't know. But, yeah, this movie is absolute perfection, in my opinion. Superb performances in the cast, really good writing and direction from the Nolans on this. Score, again, absolute perfection. Cinematography, really, really good as well. Like, this to me is absolute perfection when it comes to filmmaking. Granted, it's not one of... it is one of my favorite movies, but it is not my absolute favorite movie. That may come a couple months down the road when I talk about it. And you'll just have to wait and see which one of these Nolan movies is my favorite. You might end up guessing it. Who knows? But those are just my thoughts on Interstellar. What did you guys think of the movie? Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know how many times you guys have seen this movie. But I think that is pretty much it for me on this one, guys. Be safe out there, and how do I know that you guys will keep coming back time and time again to watch my reviews, even all the way to these really, really weird outros? Is because you made a promise. You promised me. You promised me that you would try and subscribe. So maybe hit that subscribe button. Maybe. Just a little bit. Maybe. And I will catch you guys next time.